Oh wow, how has it not? So I teach pre-K at Monocacy Elementary School, and pre-K obviously is all about routines. It's about becoming a member of a school and all the rules and routines that brings along with it. And so PATH has really transformed my culture this year and really creating a family feel. The students are very much like brother and sister, and they are so close-knit and super supportive of each other. They're very empathetic, and I think all of that comes from the many, many conversations we've had through past lessons of talking about their feelings, understanding and coping with that, so they really understand each other and they feel what the other is feeling when they're going through a certain activity or emotion. So that has been really supportive.
The cool thing about PATHS is that it naturally creates a classroom culture. It provides children with opportunities to talk with one another, to learn how to have conversations. It focuses on giving compliments and getting compliments, so it naturally creates a kindness in your classroom and a almost a friendship and family feel just from the lessons themselves.
So PATHS has transformed my classroom culture by having the students being able to express their emotions and their feelings a lot more. In second grade, it is truly difficult to understand all the different emotions. A lot of students only know I'm happy, sad, or angry, but now my students know all these various emotions, and they are able to come together as what they like to call a class family and be able to identify each other's needs and social needs and emotional needs.
I teach special ed learning for life, so PATH has really helped transform the culture in my classroom. We focus a lot on functional needs and communication, which is one of the main goals of PATHs. So we spend a lot of time talking about our feelings, which is exactly what PATHs has done. It's given the students more words and other ways for them to show how they feel and even explain how they feel. So PATHS directly supports that, and I've seen great success and growth with my students, even some of the students with some low IQs really being able to talk and express their feelings.
I've noticed a bigger empathy among the students. Students are really concerned about how others are feeling, what their reactions are. They are also trying to solve problems that they see or situations independently instead of coming to me and requiring me or asking me to help them. They're using the steps that we teach them in PATHS to go through and problem solve and analyze and decide whether or not it will work. Students are also more in touch with how they're feeling in the fact that they're able to put an emotion and words to what they're feeling internally, which we, instead of reacting to a situation.
The largest benefit, it's actually been amazing to watch kids be able to stop and speak their feelings instead of blowing up and having a reaction. They're able to stop, tell someone how they're feeling with kind words, and then choose how to react after that. The other benefit that I've really seen is they've been able to help other friends as well. So if they see someone else having a feeling that we've studied, they learn signals like the turtle, and they're able to look at a neighbor and kind of give them a hint to help them remember to stop and think about what your feeling is before they react.
I have noticed that my students have cared so much for one another. They really truly care if someone gets upset. They know the right things to say to students. They know if a student is getting frustrated with work, they tell them to use their PATH strategies. They influence each other in positive ways. I've also noticed that students in math and in reading are able to increase their scores, because in math they can now discuss with me and with other students and in their work about the different math strategies, and in reading they can talk about books more fluently, and they can comprehend the books more just by being able to connect with the characters in the book.
Wow, behavior has been or negative behavior has been almost non-existent. But also on the assessment side of things, obviously in early childhood education, oral language is a huge piece of our curriculum. And I can say firsthand, seeing some of the data that we've had at the end of the year, our data in oral language is so much higher than I've experienced in 10 years of teaching pre-K. So that was extremely motivating. And again, I was trying to rack my brain thinking, where did this come from? How has this data jumped so high? And I really believe firmly that it's from PATHs. Their need to talk about their problems, their need to identify how they feel really helps them get through just language in general and communication and being able to speak back and forth with both their teachers and their peers, and that is all a tribute to PATHs.
I've noticed a drastic improvement at playground when the students are playing and it's free time and it's unstructured. In the beginning of the year, it was quite difficult for fourth grade, and we have implemented PATHs in both the English language arts block of our fourth grade. And students are now working together. They're letting some things roll off of them. And it has been a pleasant surprise to see that they're really trying to do the steps that we give them, not only in the classroom, but outside in the playground or in cafeteria, more unstructured areas.
One of the largest benefits I've noticed since implementing PATHs is the students being able to recognize how they're feeling. For students with special ed, that are in special ed, and students with behavioral issues, that is one of the hardest things for them to do, is to be able to recognize their feelings, because if they can't recognize it, they don't know how to take their next steps. So with PATHs, we really focused on teaching the feelings, identifying that feeling, and teaching the students that it's okay to have those feelings. And truthfully, that is one of the biggest, most beneficial things that I've seen with this program.
I think it's vital. These students have so much trauma. Everyone has some sort of trauma that from their outside life that they're coming into school with, but don't know how to express that. So I think it's vital for them to learn how to understand that the feelings that they have from day to day, throughout the day, are all okay feelings, and that you can change those feelings to have better feelings, and you have everything you need within yourself to work through those feelings. Also, if students are not emotionally ready, if they're not emotionally open, no academics are gonna get through. So it's a great way to start your day, get kids ready for learning.
So the classroom is ever changing, and it is completely different from when I went to school and from when other teachers went to school. And students nowadays don't understand the different emotions that they have. Before, they only know that they're happy or sad or angry. Now I have students who can tell me that they're feeling anxious. I can have students tell me that they're feeling proud for something, or if they feel guilty for something. They understand and they can label those emotions and use the strategies that we teach them in PATHs to help them with those different types of emotions. And they can understand if they're feeling comfortable or uncomfortable and how to kind of fix that on their own, or they can go to a PATHs partner, or they can come to me for advice if they need it. But most of the time they can do it on their own.
We no longer have the luxury of just teaching reading, math, and writing. We have to teach the whole student. And unfortunately, our society today is reactive. So if we can benefit or arm students with the knowledge and tools to not always react to a situation, but to be reflective and to encourage others to be reflective, everybody benefits.
Social emotional learning needs to be added to our school day, because if we cannot meet those students' needs and help teach students that it's okay to have those feelings, we can't expect them to come to school to learn. By teaching them these regulation of feelings that even us as adults experience on a daily basis throughout our day, we're teaching them that we feel that way, so it's okay that they can feel that way. So it's really showing them that we're human and that they're allowed to do and feel these ways.
so much of the school day is the little stories that happen behind the lessons, and I think that the students need to feel comfortable in those small moments so that they can be more successful in the big moments that us as educators really want them to get through and to hold on to. So if you're trying to put out little fires, left and right in the middle of a lesson or through activities or even independent work, I just feel like it's going to impact their learning. So if they're able to put out those fires on their own by understanding what's happening and being able to talk themselves through it, then that really removes the teacher and allows me to do what I'm here to do, and that's to really, benefit their learning and their academics, and they're really taking control and ownership over their behavior and their needs. So it's really great to see that.
For skeptics, I would say give it your all. This is not something extra to do. This is not an extra curriculum. It's natural. It's a natural way, especially to start your school year, to build, like I said, your classroom community and just to learn how to talk with each other and to learn about yourself. It's a mindfulness. So give it your all, because the effects that you're going to get out of it are not just going to be behavioral. You're going to see it with focus. You're going to see it with relentlessness. It's going to pay off in every area of your classroom.
I would say just trust it, and to trust that these students are needing some type of program to help them understand the emotions that they are feeling. I have seen so many benefits from it. I do not have to intervene with student conflicts. Students are able to have conversations at recess and use those strategies during the school day. I have seen large academic growth. I have a student who went from a level B in reading to a level K. I have had students who could not understand place value and are now getting 70% on their math benchmarks. They are able to explain their thinking a lot more and being able to really use the vocabulary needed, because they're not focusing on their emotions anymore. They are focusing on the task at hand in their academics.
To skeptics, I would say it's not easy to start. You really have to be in tune with yourself. You have to accept something new, and that's going to be hard because the program not only is hard for the students, but it's hard for you because it's a different way of teaching things than what normal teachers and people are used to. It's acknowledging feelings that we don't necessarily talk about, but that we want students to express to us. So if we can't acknowledge them, how can we expect the kids to acknowledge them? So truthfully, it's teachers need to get on board with feeling vulnerable, and that being vulnerable to the kids.
I get it. We've got a lot going on, and here's another thing. But it is something that you can make your own. It is a scripted program. I don't like scripts, but I read through it and I find what I need to do for my students, and they love it. They're always asking, hey, is today a paths day? So the benefit is for them, they get to hear their peers' thoughts on situations that occur maybe in school or more oftentimes outside of school, and it's very beneficial.
I am rarely a skeptic, so this is a hard question to answer, but I would say that it's a commitment, as anything is, any new program will be, but it is what you make it. And in the pre-K level, I have puppets, and I go 100% with those puppets. They have different accents, they have different personalities, and the kids anchor to that. They understand what Duke the dog, how he feels about emotions, what he's bringing to the table, that it's okay to feel angry and upset as long as you are expressing it appropriately. They understand that Twiggle is a fun-loving turtle, and he's there to support us in any way that we need. So they are gonna really believe what you want them to believe. So as a skeptic, I would say it is what you make it, and if you want it to be as successful of a program as it's meant to be, then go all in and have fun with it, and because that's what's going to make the kids really enjoy it as well.
I do think it's changed a little bit. I mean, I feel I have a mommy sense with my class anyway, but it has taught me a lot about my feelings and how I react to things. So I'm able to stop and take a breath and tell them I'm feeling in the red zone, or this is making me feel frustrated, and then tell them what I need them to do to help make that feeling go away. So I do think it's changed even how I react to students. And I think that it's also helped me to help them. So when I see them starting to have feelings, or I see them starting to react, I'm able to use quiet signals, universal signals to help calm that down.
Paths has completely changed how I interact with the students. Before, I would never tell my students, especially students with special needs, that I'm feeling frustrated, that I'm feeling angry. But the way Paths works is showing the students the feelings, talking about them, expressing them. Even when you're not necessarily in a group, if I read an email, I sometimes stop and say, friends, I just got an email and it makes me very frustrated. So I go and I show them how I feel, but then it's teaching them how to respond. So taking yourself and putting yourself in that situation for the kids to see.
Absolutely. Before, I used to have to intervene with all my students and their social problems. Now I just sit back and they want me to watch them as they're handling social problems. They will come to me and say, Miss Klein, I have this problem with this student. Can you just sit there and watch as I'm trying to intervene with them? And so they are so proud of them using their strategies. I now ask students every day, we have a mental health check-in, and I go around and they tell me how they are feeling that day, just so I know what emotions they're feeling. It could be 1, it could be 5, but now I'm not getting just, oh, I'm sad or I'm tired. Now I'm getting, oh, I'm frustrated, I'm upset, I'm guilty, and they can go in and let me know. So now everything is connected into our emotions, and it has really made a positive impact.
It has. I'm not readily jumping in to solve things. They have path partners that they go to first. We're really trying to get students to analyze, to be reflective, to be introspective, and to carry these things into daily interaction with anybody they come to. I've had several kids say, hey, I've used this at home and it really worked. So I thought that was a bonus.
My students, yes. My family, my own children, yes. It has made me so much more patient. As an educator, as a mom, as a friend, it has made me really slow down and think about, on my own account, what are these feelings that I have and why am I feeling this way? How can I, get through that? How can I take a deep breath and calm down on my own? It's funny because a lot of times throughout the day, if the students start to see me, get a little frustrated, or maybe I lose a small bit of my temper, they will actually suggest a coping strategy that Twiggle has introduced to them. And it makes me stop and laugh, which every teacher needs to do throughout the day. But it also helps me realize too, yes, these strategies that I am enforcing for these kids is also something I need to be modeling for them as well. So it's something that really helps me check back in with what I expect them to learn, and also what I expect to model as a human being to be successful in life.
That's been, I think, my favorite part, is how they interact with each other. I have never in my 21 years of teaching seen children be able to talk to each other about situations, or to be able to say, can you please stop doing that, it's making me feel. I've never seen kids care about each other and have as much compassion and empathy as I have seen since starting Paths, and watching them almost a sense of team and family. They not only are monitoring themselves, but they'll take care of their neighbor if they see that their neighbor is starting to have an uncomfortable feeling, or if they're getting overly excited, they're able to help them work through it and use the control signals and the breathing techniques and everything that we've practiced. So that has been tremendous, and actually the sweetest thing to see.
Oh, absolutely. With my students, they treat each other like a family and they respect one another. I hear them constantly asking about how they are feeling that day, even if I'm not even asking about it. I have students who behaviors are very extreme and they will shut down, and I have other students go over and just hold them, and they do breathing techniques together, and that happens quite often. I have people or students in my class who they get really upset and they start crying, and the first thing they do is I have 5 students go up to them and ask them if they want to hug and if they want to breathe with them, and that's the first thing they always do. And then they go into, all right, let's make a plan, and they go to the stop sign together. And then the students are able to problem solve a lot more with one another, and they are respecting their peers more in their emotions, and they're also respecting adults and their emotions, and they're understanding that I can have the same emotions as they can. So it's more relatable with the students.
I've noticed an improvement in students not being ready to blow as quickly. One of the things that PATH will do is tell you to stop and take a deep breath, and I've seen many students practicing that. We do that in conjunction with yoga. So a lot of the students use these self-calming techniques, and for some of our high flyers, it's been very successful.
Absolutely. I think, especially from the very beginning of the year, having a PATH helper, somebody who is pointed out throughout the day for all of their shining star moments, and it provides a lot of compliments to them throughout the day. It just encourages really positive talk among all the students every single day. It helps them compliment each other when they're doing something well. It helps each other pick themselves up at recess if they're getting hurt, and it just throws compliments at everybody throughout the day, and they'll compliment me, which I'm not going to complain. I love that. And it's just a really nice way. It's a nice shift of negative behavior attention to strictly positive behavioral attention, and that is something I really want to hold as a focus in my classroom. How can we point out each other's strengths and ignore the weaknesses, and support each other as a family?
In a situation where I may need to pull a student aside and redirect them instead of them becoming reactive and shutting down or not wanting to listen, they're more willing to listen to what I have to say, and we work on the problem together.
PATH has completely changed how my kids interact. I have students who have behavioral goals that focus on expressing their wants and needs, and since I've started teaching PATH, their expression of their needs has gone up greatly. In some cases and in some weeks, it's gone up 75%. So it's a huge jump from where students were, and being able to recognize their needs and being able to recognize when they're in a situation that they need to change, so they find a strategy or someone who can help them with a strategy now to achieve that goal. My students interact with me, it's at a much different level. It's built a stronger connection with the students. They feel more connected when you can be vulnerable with your kids and really express your feelings, and they step up, they accept it, they want to know why you feel that way, they want to know what you did to change your feelings. So it's greatly impacted how they feel on a daily basis, how they learn, how they interact with others throughout the school. So I have students that have behavioral goals and academic goals in the Learning for Life program. Their behavioral goals, one student has a goal to focus on expressing wants and needs, and another student has a goal on expressing himself in a safe manner. And both of these goals have tremendously gone up since we started implementing this program and teaching them the strategies. And that, I think, is the key to the program, is it's not a consequence program. It's not punishing the kids for doing something. It's teaching them that it's okay to have these feelings and to recognize these feelings. So it has also changed how I've written my behavioral goals and academic goals, really focusing on how the students can do that, what strategies can do it, and a lot more of the modeling as opposed to the direct teaching of things. The one student I'm referencing, her behavioral goal, when we wrote it, she was not expressing herself safely not even 20% of the day. She could not vocalize, whether it's verbal, nonverbal, her wants and needs, or anything. She's gone up to, she's at about 85% of it. And my other student, he's recognized the strategies of what to do to calm down, and just seeing them utilize the strategies. Students with low IQs and, you know, a lot of other baggage going on, poor home lives and things like that, are able to gain from this with that direct teaching and explicit of what the feelings are.